Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Good to see you all here. Obviously, you guys are here because I did an Ask the Drinker stream the other night. I'm still recovering from that, from doing all those shots. But I'm here. I've got my Irish coffee, and I'm going to answer the super chats that I wasn't able to get around to on the night. So, without further ado, allow me to dive right in. And there's a couple of member chats that someone was good enough to send to me. I always appreciate when people do that, because occasionally, if you miss them when you're doing the stream, they do kind of disappear, which is really annoying. You can't see them afterwards. So anyway, Whit G says, "Good to see you, Drinker. Thanks for being a real one. Cheers." Well, I do try to be as real as I can, even though I might be entirely fictional. Who knows? But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And Flav says, "Hail, Drinker. Sharp rocks." It does indeed. Sharp is a great British TV show. And a year later, after your promise, some more support around emoticons, please. P.S. I get you're busy. Yes, I do need to give you guys some more emoticons just for the member guys. I know that it's a bit limited at the moment. Never quite got around to making more, so it's about time I did. That was the member chats there. So the other ones that were there and are outstanding. Sar X says, "Do you ever hang out with Muller in person? Cheers." You know, you'd be surprised to know that I haven't. This is such a weird thing because, like, I've known Muller for 5 years now. Never once met him face to face. Partly just practicality reasons. Like, he lives like down in the south of Wales. I'm up in Scotland. It is a pain in the arse to get to where he is. Like, I can't just fly there. You know, there's no airports or anything nearby, and I can't get the train. So the only option is to drive, and that's like easily a 6 or 7 hour drive to get to where he is. So it's quite a long journey. But we do actually have plans to meet up probably early next year because he's actually getting some work done on his house as well at the moment. So it's all a bit chaotic. But yeah, that is the plan. Hopefully I'll get to hang out with him in person and it'll be real good. Well, it would be kind of funny actually if we spent time together and we ended up fucking hating each other. You never know. I could be surprisingly annoying. V says, "On a scale from 1 to Sydney Sweeney's boobs," that's a good scale, "how excited are you for Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg to write a 4th film together? Simon has said it will be possible soon after Edgar finishes his new film." I mean, I've got such a fondness for the Cornetto trilogy. You know, those guys do great things together. I feel like Edgar Wright's got a slightly spotty history at this point. Like, Last Night in Soho was a weird movie. But, you know, maybe they'll surprise me. They can do a 4th one and it'll be awesome. But, man, it has been a long time since we had The World's End. So, you know, sometimes they can lose the magic over time. I hope that's not the case. And, yeah, I would give it a watch, at least. Larix, oh, yeah, so on that scale, I'm an 8 out of Sydney Sweeney's boobs in terms of excitement for that. Larix says, "Thanks for reviewing Restless Natives the other week. One of the many great memories of my youth. Best enjoyed with a glass of Arran. Slange." I hear you on that one, man. Yeah, Restless Natives, good fun. And I'm looking forward to doing a few more of the Scottish classics there. So yeah, watch that space. It's something that, like, you know, doing these extra shots reviews on my second channel, I feel like I haven't done as many of them recently as I would want to because I've upped the content on the main channel and it does eat into my time quite a bit. Like producing 3 scripted videos a week, it does take a fair bit of time, and so there's not much left for other stuff, but I want to try and make more. Steve Johnson says, "In light of your recent episodic TV show rant, do you think that the episodic TV show series can be brought back?" Absolutely. Also, if so, what term, how many episodes, especially if launched on YouTube or online? Yeah, so I don't know if we need to get back to full, like, 22 episode or 24 episode seasons, but even if it's, say, 10 episodes or 15, you know, split the difference. Yeah, just drop down the budget a little bit. I think the reason you were able to get, say, episodic TV like Star Trek The Next Generation is that they didn't cost a fortune to make these episodes. You know, they were done in cost-efficient ways. Yeah, they had special effects and all the rest of it, but not over the top, like they were treated as if they were feature films, you know. And maybe we need to get back to that slightly lower budget style of TV filmmaking or TV making. You know what I'm trying to say. So I think that's the key to it is budget, you know, and I think there's definitely an appetite for episodic TV, you know. Not everything has to be this big, like, serialized slog where every episode has to contribute to the main storyline. Andrew Grange says, are you looking forward to GTA 6 if World War III doesn't arrive first? Apparently, we can go in over 60% of buildings, which is cool. Love the detail. I mean, sure. Like, I'm sure it's going to be a technical marvel and all that stuff. Like, you kind of wonder to yourself, can it possibly live up to the insane hype right now? This is a game that people have been waiting like 10 years for. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And like, do I want that level of like interactivity in my gaming environments? Do I feel like I have to go into every building in the entire city? Not necessarily. No. Like, it's you couldn't do it in GTA 5, and there was still an absolute ton of fun to be had with that one. So I don't know, man. We should start a poll, actually. What's going to be done first, GTA 6 or Winds of Winter? It's going to be tight. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, dear drinker, would you consider having this buffoon, me, on a future live stream of yours? I can bring some additional madness and opinions. We can get you on, sir. I reckon we can do it. I had one of my mods actually recommend you, so I think we'll get you on open bar if you're up for it. E-Man Clark says, hey drinker, huge fan. Scavenger's Reign on Netflix is pretty good. I think you'd enjoy it. All right, thanks for the recommendation, buddy. Jordan Pendragon, what do you think of Deer Hunter as a war movie? I own a French DVD copy of it where the title translates to Journey to the End of Hell. That's quite a translation. The Deer Hunter, I don't know if I'd really classify it as a war movie. It's more like it's like a kind of psychological thriller with like a war as a backdrop to it. Yeah, I mean, obviously superb in terms of performances and stuff. It's not the kind of movie I feel the need to break out very often for a rewatch, but you know, hell of an achievement for the time. Nicholas Stoyer says, drinker, are there any novels or movies where you think they would translate well into a video game? Also, I used to write short stories in the Resident Evil universe and was wondering, how does one go publishing stories based on established IPs? The sad reality is you probably can't. You wouldn't be allowed to under copyright law. You certainly wouldn't be allowed to profit from it. I don't know if you could try and approach Capcom themselves and try and get a gig writing for them or something, but they would probably say no. That's the harsh reality of it. You could perhaps change it, change character names and places and stuff, so it's the same basic story. It just doesn't infringe on the IP, and maybe try and publish it that way. It is a bit of a legal minefield, though, sadly. And yeah, what was the other question? Yeah, novels and movies that would translate well into video games. I think Muller and I talked about this recently. Firefly, I think, would work really well as a video game. You know, you're a smuggler, you've got control of a spaceship. It's a big sort of open world, traveling from planet to planet, having adventures, all that sort of thing. I think that would translate really well. And it would allow you to get the actors back, use their voices and their likenesses, but you don't have to account for the fact that they're like 20 years older now. So that would be a nice way to continue the show. Thomas Paulin Stavik says, I have a 15-second and a 50-second teaser of my action-adventure short film, Ruins Ignite. Would be the Critical King be willing to give either a critical thought? Yes, so at this point, you've actually emailed me with this, which is handy now because like I can say that I've got access to that so I can take a look. So I'll do that and then I'll reply back to you. So thanks, man. Maxim Rush. Should I take a girl to see Tron Ares? I'm more excited for the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, honestly. Also, every time I see someone I know in public, I do the body snatchers pointing thing, thanks to your video. Excellent. I'm sure they appreciate that, and people don't look at you like you're a lunatic. Yeah, should you take a girl to see Tron Ares? I don't know, man. Girls don't tend to like sci-fi that much, so I'd be reluctant. That being said, there's not a whole lot else out now, so fuck it. Maybe you've got nothing to lose on that one. She might like Jared Leto, I guess. There's always that. Try it. See how it goes. And then report back to me. Cabe Dog says, please give a shout out to Miners Mountain 2. Kickstart didn't make it, but the creator's accepting Venmo. What tips for films without successful funding? Oh, good question. I have no idea what you do if your Kickstarter like doesn't reach the goal. As far as I know, all the the pledges that have been made just get returned and refunded back to the original pledgers, the supporters, and you get nothing, which really fucking sucks. But I guess it comes down to set your minimum target accordingly, so that you don't lose out, but you've still got enough to actually make the film. If it doesn't work, I don't know how you go about promoting it. Maybe try launching another one with a lower goal and see if you can reach that one. Daffy says, have you watched Mr. In Between yet? No, I have not, I'm afraid. It's on the list, though. Baby Malachi says, Drinker, what are your thoughts on the Black Phone 2? I don't know, because I haven't seen Black Phone 2 or Black Phone 1, I'm afraid. So I couldn't tell you, mate. Chris Nicholson says, I've been doing a rematch of the Terminator series. I think you mean rewatch. And I agree with your take that it hit an evolutionary dead end after 2, but I can't think of any better ideas. How would you fix the series? I mean, as much as I hate to say this, I suspect that Terminator Salvation had the right idea in that we can't just do another Terminator gets sent back in time to kill John Connor or someone else who's important to the human resistance. You've got to move the series forward. And I think the only logical thing to do is move it into that post-Judgment Day world where it's like the future war against the machines. You can make it, the groundwork is there. You can make a kind of, almost like espionage, thriller, action, war movie combined thing where like the humans are fighting against the machines, but it's not just like constant battles and explosions. Like there's a kind of, undertone of trying to uncover what the machines are doing, trying to uncover their plan to send a Terminator back through time. All that stuff I think is possible. And it's probably Salvation had the correct idea. It's just I still don't particularly love the movie. I mean, compared to what we got afterwards, it's a fucking masterpiece. And I would take that any day over Genesis or Dark Fate. So, yeah, it's just a shame people didn't buy into it more because they obviously set up the groundwork for sequels as well. They could have done a trilogy potentially there. That's the only way I can think to continue the franchise and actually feel like it's progressing. Northern English Bastard says, Hail Drinker, just reached 1,000 subs only to sadly go back down 1. Still, I wouldn't have gotten this far if it wasn't for your kind invites. Cheers, man. Well, obviously, you'll get that sub back. I'm sorry you dropped back down below the 1K, but yeah, you've obviously been consistently growing to get to this point, and it'll keep happening. So yeah, best of luck to you, man, and keep at it. That's the only way. Conyu, sorry if I'm butchering your name. Thoughts about Foundation from Apple TV. Haven't watched Foundation, unfortunately. The only main thing I'm watching on Apple TV at the moment is Silo, which I've been quite enjoying. I'm a bit behind the times on that. But, yeah, that's a pretty good show. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of other stuff that I might have watched on it. Yeah, I'm not on Apple TV all that much. But, yeah, I know the Foundation people do talk quite a bit about it. I've never quite got around to it yet. Kiki and Luca says, Andor is peak Star Wars. Your thoughts on the Emmy writing win? My son took me to Demon Slayer and it was amazing. Nice one, man. Glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, the winning an Emmy, absolutely. I think there's superb writing at play in Andor. Whatever you might think about, it's not Star Wars or it's too slow paced or whatever, like the actual quality and the construction of the stories, the characters, the interlocking plot threads, all the gradual build up to the things like the Gorman Massacre. Superb stuff, so I think it deserves it. Wolf and Fox says, how do you know you've become too cynical, and how do you recenter yourself to make sure you aren't being hyperbolic on what is bad and what is good quality cinema? Really good question, actually, because there's a temptation to do that, especially when you're on YouTube, right? Say you make a video and it's like, yeah, this film was all right, I guess. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible. I thought it was fine. No one's gonna watch that because it's a boring as fuck title, and it's people want extremes, sadly, and that's where you end up. And you don't want to play to it too much because yeah, there is a temptation, and of taking a film that was fine but had some flaws to like, oh my god, this is literally the worst thing that any human has ever made ever. Just to get attention. I guess I'm in the fortunate position now where I don't have to worry about that so much, and it's like, it's not me trying to flex or anything. It's just, I've got a big channel now and I'm pretty well known and I can put out more middle of the road reviews or more nuanced reviews, I don't know, they'll at least get enough views to make it worth doing. You know what I mean? It's not going to get completely buried by the algorithm or anything. But I appreciate not everyone's in that position. And so, I don't know, man, I just try to keep an open mind when I go to watch things. My benchmark has been and always is, first and foremost question, when I got to the end of that film, did I enjoy myself? Did it feel like I spent 2 hours or whatever it was well? And if my answer is yes, then okay, great. We've got the basis for why was it good? What worked about it? Maybe what could have made it even better? All that stuff. And I just go from that. So it's less about, constructing this argument that I think people want to hear and more just like, okay, was it enjoyable? If so, can I justify why I enjoyed it? And then can I apply that to other people, or is it unique to me? So that's generally how I go. And like I say, I'm lucky that I can have that nuance and get away with it. I appreciate other people can't. Boss Door says, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years, 35,000 subs. My growth is slow and I can never tell which videos will do well. Even ones that seem like a good thing fail at times. What can I do? Good trends? It's putting in effort for no views. I think you mean, well, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I guess the point you're making is like it takes a toll on you or something. Yeah, I 100% get it. We were just talking about this, obviously. YouTube's doing something weird at the moment with videos, and I've noticed it. And I think I understand what the problem is. It's not picking up your new videos with the algorithm, for lack of a better word. And I'll try and explain. If I put out a video, right, I can, as everyone who's created content can see it, you can see the minute by minute view counts, right? And for me, a good video that's doing really well, like in the first 15, 20 minutes, the views will be around about 2,000 views per minute, right? And if that happens, I know the algorithm's then going to take it, because it's like the YouTube algorithm will recognize this is a popular video. A lot of people are watching it. Let's recommend it to even more people. And you'll see it. You'll see the trend goes along like this. And then the moment the algorithm takes it, it goes up like that. And you'll get like an extra 50, 60, 70% views per minute, right? And that it's like a bump. You'll just see it go up like that. And I watched it just last night when I put out my latest video about The Witcher, and it was doing exactly what it should have done to get hit by the algorithm, right? It was about 2,000 views per minute, no bump. It just carried on like that, right? Which is still, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a really good result. And I don't know, probably do like 1 million views ultimately, but I know it would have done 1.5 million to 2 million views if the algorithm had taken it. And so that's the thing that's missing. That's why people's view counts are lower than they should be on new videos. The algorithm is not picking up these new videos and recommending them. And I don't know when or if that's going to change back to what we had before. So yeah, to answer your question and how that applies to your channel, I don't know what the ultimate solution is going to be. I suspect YouTube have done something that they kind of regret and are now working to correct it, because this is a problem it's hit everyone, creators all across the board, from like people with 10,000 subs all the way up to like 5-6 million are complaining about this same problem. And so it's clearly something they can't just ignore. They are going to have to try and put it right in some way. I just suspect it'll take time. But yeah, it can be a slog, man. I think the only general advice I would give to people is try to find things that are trending right now to talk about. So The Acolyte, for example, is a great one, right? When that came out and everyone was hating it, for obvious reasons, it absolutely sucked. And you kind of knew then, like, if I make a video about this, man, it's gonna hit well, because lots of people will be searching for it, and I know it will get picked up, right? And so that's an easy win. The problem that we're facing at the moment is there just isn't a whole lot going on. I mean, that's a fact. Like, we've noticed it really throughout the whole of September and part of August as well. There's just not much news coming out from the entertainment industry. It's generally a quiet time for new movie releases. We're past that summer blockbuster season. We're not really into like awards season. And like, there's a lot of, TV shows and stuff that will be coming out probably in the next couple of months, like the fall TV season. They're just not there yet. And so this is a real dead period. And yeah, that definitely doesn't help in terms of finding stuff that people will be searching for. But it will change. It's all just like seasonal, you know. Jax says, I have an idea for a TV series, but I can't write. Are there any books that you can recommend to help with structure? Not for the structure of a TV show, no. Like the things that you know, I've generally been involved more with writing have been books, like novels. So I don't really know how you'd then apply those lessons to TV, which is a very different beast, unfortunately. Yeah. Stormweaver says, good evening, Critical Drinker. First time watching you live. Have enjoyed your videos. Thank you. All the best to you and yours. Stay safe after what happened to Charlie Kirk. Yeah, thank you, man. I intend to. Doge says, any future Crash and Burn videos? Do the Wachowskis. That's not a bad one. Yeah, I was talking about this the other night. I think I'm going to do Taika Waititi and probably, what's her name? Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman. I think probably they're all pretty good possibilities. I think Jonathan Majors as well, because his will be an interesting one. I feel like he's maybe on the upswing again. Like he's maybe going to have a redemption arc for this because, man, that dude had it all. And it all kind of collapsed within a few months, with the allegations against him, getting dropped by Marvel, all his projects falling through. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where his story goes. Tamar Halleck says, can I recommend 1980s classic Polish sci-fi comedy Sex Mission? Woke world ruled by women. One day they awake two guys, hilarious and controversial. All right, I'll take a look. Casey Boyd, in Japan, there's restaurants or izakayas that have a promotion called Nomo Hodai, meaning that all you can drink for 2 hours, usually light beer, but still. Well, I'd like to put that one to the test. Thank you. I'll try that in Japan when I get there. Paul of Dirt says, Sly D, if you had to choose, what would be your choice? I don't know what the question is. If you had to choose, what would be your choice? I don't know. I'll see if there's like a part 2 of that. Hikira says, what are your thoughts on George Clooney as Bruce Wayne? I'm not talking about his Batman portrayal, but I defend his Bruce Wayne portrayal. I don't think he was suave enough to play Bruce Wayne. I didn't like the short hair. Yeah, it was George Clooney obviously just doing what he always does, which is playing George Clooney in fucking everything. Not a huge fan of him, to be honest. Weirdly, I actually thought he looked better in the Flash when he's like the Silver Fox now with a bit of a beard. I thought he looked pretty good there, but yeah, didn't like him as Bruce Wayne or Batman. Tay says, hey, Drinker, I wanted to ask someone, how do you write if you feel you're not well read or have enough life experience to write anything meaningful? Well, you'll kind of know yourself if you've got a story you want to tell. Like, it definitely helps if you've been to lots of places and you've had an interesting life. You've had lots of just quirky, cool, fun little encounters with people that you can maybe like work into your story. It's not 100% necessary. I mean, Jesus, man, that's why we have imaginations. But even if you can try to fill in the gaps yourself, like, okay, I don't know much about this particular country that I want to write my story in. Okay, I'll do the research. You've got a whole world of like knowledge at your fingertips there. That's what the internet's for. Use it, and there's no reason why you can't, even if you haven't been to these places yourself or done this stuff. Yeah, Casey Boyd says, Noma Hadai costs about $10. You're welcome. I reckon I could drink $10 worth of beer in 2 hours. Nubzur says, just saying hi from Philadelphia. Hi to you, sir. Watched for years. Hope to keep watching you and Muller and friends win. Well, we're enjoying winning at the moment, so thank you, man. It's a good time. Mark McClellan, Drinker, I've heard you say you don't read comic books. If so, is there any story or character that made you want to take the plunge? I guess something like Batman would get me in. He was always pretty much my favorite character. I think he's awesome. And I've got about 100 years worth of stories to catch up on, so some of them are bound to be like, they're bound to catch my attention. But yeah, I suppose that would be it. Casual Sadism. Have you been listening to the Star Trek Khan audio drama? It's set during his exile on SETI Alpha 5, 2 episodes in, and it's pretty good so far. I've heard about it. I haven't listened to it, but yeah, apparently it's meant to be really good. It's like a a civil war between Khan and the other augments or whatever they were called. Yeah, pretty cool. Brilliant says, follow up to my first chat. Do you think companies politically infected will be able to clean house? Most companies are somewhat pinned between activists, employees, and the consumer. Too late? I think they can. And I think we're getting to that point where they're going to have to, because lawsuits are incoming. You've seen it. Obviously, ABC got the threat of lawsuits. They had to fire Jimmy Kimmel. He will not be the last, I'm sure. And I think a lot of companies are living in fear now of actual legal repercussions. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of cleaning of house that goes on in the next, in the months and years ahead. Jay Smart says, any tips for note-taking when making a story or plot? Not sure, actually, because I actually keep them all in my head, weirdly. I don't know why, right? Because I'm useless at most things. But when it comes to like remembering story beats, characters, plot events, all of that stuff, most of it is in my head. I will do one synopsis of the story, usually, when I'm writing a novel, just to make sure, not so much that I need to remember the events, but more to test them and make sure that it all hangs together and makes sense. So that's the one time I'll do it. But when it comes to like remembering characters, personal histories and all that, for some reason, I've just always been able to remember it. It's weird. Dylan Christie says, favorite Final Fantasy VII character. You know which one I'm going to say. It's my girl, Aerith, all the way. And yeah, I like Tifa as well. I really do. But Aerith's the one for me. Philip A. Demick says, will the UK learn anything from Nepal? Yeah, hopefully it doesn't come to that in the UK. But yeah, man, there's a lot of discontent here. I'll tell you that much. David Summer, filmmaker, says, as an American, I can't watch most Scottish movies without subtitles. Same here. I'm from Scotland. Owen Scanlon says, favorite beer? Probably a Scottish one called Innis and Gunn. It's a nice lager. Yeah, really like that. Always goes down smooth. Failing that, Moretti and Peroni are both pretty good as well. Northern English Bastards, echoing what we said earlier. Get Kung Fu Hot Dog on. He's awesome. Consider it done. Bumcrack Jones, great name. Money Jump Scare. Ah! Nick Mato says, look, man, Japan is not a fan of yours, sadly, but genuinely, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't imagine people in Japan even know who I am. Kaiser Swan says, Hail Drinker, which video game do you think would adapt best to film or television, and which do you think would be most horrified to see Disney acquire? So, in the past, I would have said Resident Evil. It's a sure, easy win. It's practically a film in itself, but I guess not. Muller and I both seem to be in agreement that BioShock would be a good choice. I think you can make a superb TV show out of that. So, yeah, I just don't know if I'd trust anyone to do it, especially not fucking Disney. Mega Spidey-Man. Yeah, I suppose Krypton is just a precursor to Clark and Superman's story. I bet you wouldn't want to watch the Krypton TV show. No, I don't. Like I say, it's a bit like Ganymede from Gallifrey. Fucking Ganymede's a moon. Yeah, Gallifrey from Doctor Who. I never really wanted to see it. I didn't want to see the details of how the place operated and stuff. It's like this mythical place almost. Just glimpses was enough. So yeah, same deal. Coco says, cheers, my man. I know you watched Attack on Titan, but what other anime have you watched? Okay, what would be the... I watched Blue Eye Samurai. I don't think that's classified as an anime because I think it was made over here in the West, but it is animated. I watched a lot of the Studio Ghibli stuff. So, Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke, all those, Howl's Moving Castle, all those sorts of things. Very much enjoy them. And Metropolis from, I think, 2002 that was made. Another superb one. Very much enjoy that. So it's more movies than TV shows just because I don't have as much time. Not shaped for sportive tricks, says Drinker, when are you going to make an honest woman of Tatiana? Hey, who says she's not honest? We have an honest financial arrangement. She takes my money and in return gives me lots of good things. Mad Dog says, highly recommend Task on HBO. 2 episodes out so far. Two main POVs, one criminal and an FBI agent trying to get him, but underlying mysteries slowly revealed. All right, thank you. John Gets Gaming. Screw it, it's my birthday on Thursday. Recently beat Resident Evil for the first time, inspired by yourself. Very confusing sometimes, but still scary as hell. Awesome, man, and happy birthday to you. Hope you enjoyed it. Scott Leo says, do you feel AI will be the death of Hollywood in the next 10 years? Probably, because it's going to end up writing better stories than they can do. Nick Tomato says, just don't. Just no, don't waste. I'm sorry, genuinely. Well, I'm going anyway. Admiral Teague says, Hail Drinker, have you checked out Landman? Cheers. No, it's a Taylor Sheridan one that I haven't seen yet, but I do want to watch it because I like the cast. The trailer certainly made it look good. And I'm genuinely a fan of his work. So I will get round to watching Landman. Muller, that guy sounds familiar. Saying, who is your favorite gas mask wearing YouTube long tuber? Also, how many alcohols is too much? Asking for a friend, Scottish and gay. There's no such thing as too much when it comes to alcohol. Your body will tell you when. But yeah, thanks, man. Good to see you pop up. It's been too long since we've talked, Must get you on open bar sometime. Conrad says, have you watched the film Come and See? If not, it's an absolute must-watch, best war film ever made. Yes, I have seen it. After a lot of prompting, I was like, right, I've got to give this one a try. And yeah, holy shit, they did not disappoint with that. That movie is fucking brutal. And I love the story of how it got made. Like, the director made that one film based on his own experiences on the Eastern Front in World War II, and then never did anything again, ever. I mean, that's fucking impressive, man. Shane Kina says, thoughts on Shaun White's breakup with Nina Dobrev? I have no idea. I don't know anything about that. Cam D says, have you seen Avatar The Last Airbender series? If so, what are your thoughts? I have not seen it, unfortunately. I feel like there's like 10 different versions of Last Airbender, and I never know which one I'm supposed to watch. Polivaro says, what decade do you think was the worst for movies? Almost certainly the current one. Yeah, I mean, every other decade, even like the 2010s, got off to a good start, but holy fuck, this has been a bad decade. I know we're only halfway through it, but yeah, I genuinely would struggle to think of one that's worse than this in terms of just the creative bankruptcy of it, the just endless remakes and reboots. It's garbage. Trevor Tillman says, Drinker, love your stuff, but is Hollywood really the hive mind you frame it as, or is it just a group of messy people making messy calls on the fly? I don't think it's a hive mind. I mean, I think there's a prevailing culture that definitely exists there, and I've been told about it from people that have worked in it for a long time. A lot of it comes down to self-censorship, because you couldn't propose a certain idea, or you couldn't say a certain thing because it would just get shot down, and you'd probably get tarred, with that brush of like, ooh, he's one of them, huh? And so people self-censor, and they go along with the general cultural consensus. So that is absolutely a thing. But yeah, there's individuals who agree or disagree with it to a lesser or greater extent. But most of the time, they're just not able to voice it. Mega Spidey Man, most attractive Marvel character inside the MCU and out. Would you do a crash and burn on Harvey Weinstein? I mean, I could. Yeah, I suppose I could really do one on him, eh? Yeah, it's more... Yeah, how would I frame it? Because it's like everyone knows the story so well. I don't know if I would really add much to it, but yeah, I mean, in terms of people that have crashed and burned, it doesn't get much bigger than him, I guess. And yeah, most attractive MCU, it's probably going to be Black Widow, isn't it? Peak Scarlett Johansson is hot as fuck. And Black Widow is that femme fatale character. Sula Felix says, look at J.J. Abrams' 2020 comments. Not a good guy. Oh, okay. Nick Helmley says, Riddick versus a hive of xenomorphs or Rick Deckard versus the Terminator, which would be more insane? Riddick versus the xenomorphs, I think. You ain't going to take on a whole hive of them single-handed. Whereas Deckard, with his, that blaster that he's got is pretty fucking powerful. Might be able to damage a Terminator with it. I'm not sure. I think he would have the better chance, at least. Burton Rowe says, have you watched Mr. In Between? Not yet, I'm afraid. I've only seen YouTube clips, but I think it's going to go watch it soon. Seems amazing. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Tyler says, are you familiar with that travesty AMC calls Interview with the Vampire? It's probably the best example of everything wrong in modern entertainment. So we're not talking about the Tom Cruise one from like the early 90s. This is a new one, is it? Fuck. Well, in that case, I ain't gonna watch that. Next one. Lionheart says, is it true that Buckfast wine is responsible for 60% of Scottish crimes? Also, what's your thoughts on The Chosen? So I think 60% is probably being conservative here. It's more like 70 or 80. Yeah, it does get people fucked up, particularly young people, because it's like easy to drink, and yeah, they go out and cause trouble. So I would not be surprised. Those monks, man, that brewed it, they've got a lot to answer for. The Chosen, haven't seen it, I'm afraid, so I don't know too much about it. What's that? Dave's ARC says, wasted idea. Appear with a band-aid on open bar right after your appearance on Rogue Elements. That's a pretty good idea. Telly Television, have you checked out Task? Interesting show. Not yet, I'm afraid. Thomas says, do we get a behind-the-scenes doc of Shelby Oaks someday? What kind of direction does Stuckman provide to an actor like Keith David? Yeah, Muller's the guy to ask, I think, because he backed it. So he's getting some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I know he's getting like a Blu-ray of it or something, but I don't know if they even made behind-the-scenes featurettes or anything. Yeah, I just can't imagine Stuckman directing people. I honestly don't. I don't know what sort of understanding of the human condition he has. I'll be interested to watch it, at least. Kroom says, is the Don staying over with you at all? I presume he's planning to meet you during his visit. The Don? Like the Don from Captain Marvel? I hope so. He'd be welcome in my house anytime. We Tavern Slots says, did you ever see the show Tripping the Rift? It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. They had an episode that is very surreal to the events from last week. No, I haven't seen that, actually. Never heard of that one. Harriman says, Finn breaking after his fellow stormtrooper dies in his arms is an excellent start in Force Awakens. The rest of Disney Star Wars failed utterly, though. I know. The first 20 minutes of that movie is actually pretty good. There's a lot of potential there, but holy fuck, does it waste it? LJ, hi Drinker. I'm a huge fan of your channel, man. Please do more of these Ask Drinker videos in the future. I will. It's been too long since the last one. And you know what? It was a lot of fucking fun. So I would definitely do more. Big Hat Legion says, you really need to play Dark Souls 2 and show Muller why he's subjectively wrong about the game not being peak. I mean, I could, but I'd be fucking terrible at it. I mean, Christ, you guys have seen me struggle through Expedition 33. Imagine how I'd do in a Souls game. I gave up about halfway through Elden Ring. I was like, nope, I do not have what it takes to complete this game. What's that? Reno the Turk says, saw your VPN ad. That was the most rooster hair ever. Thank you. One does try. Sammy W, have you seen Song of the South? If not, your view on Disney treating it like the ginger adopted stepchild. Haven't seen the movie, no. I know it's controversial as fuck at this point. I'm sure it's one they'd quite happily bury. Neva Alix says, I find your analysis of the loss of episodic content very interesting. I'd watched a 4-hour documentary on Frasier's role in Cheers and his own show. They too talked about the loss of those strengths. Yeah, I mean, good stuff. I fucking love Frasier. That genuinely I would put down as one of the best sitcoms ever made, and it's one of the few that like consistently makes me laugh every time I watch it. I'm actually doing a rewatch at the moment. I'm on season 5 now. God, it's good. Renee Salinas says, can you watch Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth, Lance Henriksen, William Forsythe, and Sean McMurray, or Sam McMurray? Can you shout out to my son, Dismas? It's like Christmas. Okay. It's like Christmas. Dismas. Good name. Yeah, Stone Cold. I'll need to watch that. Thunderbolt. With the pending collapse of the UK, hopefully, would you ever move to the US? You know what? I could get myself a nice cabin in New England. I think I could settle down there quite happily. Some Norwegian guy, the Smashing Machine, looks like it could be good. I mean, it does actually. The trailers look good. And, you know, if The Rock actually is willing to act now and not just be generic action man, Dwayne Johnson, then I'll give it a go. Hopefully it is decent. Mistress Geneva, hey Drinker, have you seen the movie Upgrade? Yes, I have. It had a budget of 3 to 4 million and it's fucking gold. You should check it out if you haven't. Yeah, I've seen it. Really good, really inventive fight scenes, and yeah, an interesting ending that I did not expect. So good premise, and I like it. Morocca, now that you've got your hands on the making of film, be at a smaller scale, are you more so or less critical of the director's writing and production side of things, or no change? Cheers, mates. I think I'm more critical of big budget ones just because I feel like they didn't wrestle with, but they don't wrestle with the kind of issues you have with indie filmmaking, where a lot of the time you have to rework things on the fly because like you just don't have the resources to do certain shots. And it's like, fuck, we need to find a solution immediately. So yeah, I'm a bit more critical, I think, of these big budget ones, particularly ones that have inherited some existing franchise and just absolutely butchered it. You know, that pisses me off more than anything. It's one thing to fuck up an existing or an original story, but it's another thing to screw up someone else's legacy. LJ says, please do more videos with Count Dankula. I would love to. He can't really make open bar because he does like gaming nights on a Thursday, but I would happily do more like happy hours with him or whatever because he's a good guy to talk to. Cunning Stunt says, you should also check out What Becomes of the Broken Hearted, the sequel to Once Were Warriors. Have you watched Space King by the Flash Gits? Also Peter Jackson's Scum and Brain Dead. Yeah, Jackson had a wild directing history, man, before he did Lord of the Rings. These like gross out horror movies. Haven't watched the other ones that you mentioned though, so have to add them to the list. Hey Ho Studios, Drinker, have you watched the movie Simp on YouTube? Not yet, no, never heard of it. Nivar Alix, I'm looking to start my own IT firm after years in the field. What's your advice for another entrepreneur, considering your own experience with writing, content creation, and filmmaking? I mean, yeah, the problem is I'm on the creative side of it, I guess, you know, with all the stuff that I do rather than, you know, a business in the normal sense. All I can say to you is like, you know, plan it out a little bit, make sure that you've got a solid, you know, case for actually doing what you're doing and a plan to succeed. Set yourself some realistic goals to and how you're going to achieve them, and then go for it. Like, I'd rather you tried and failed than never tried in the first place. Chatanesis says, have you ever tried Rakija, a Balkan spirit? There's a rumor that you're going to watch Man from Earth. Is that true? Cheers from Bosnia. I feel like I have had Rakija, you know. Does it have a kind of aniseed taste, like licorice? If so, I have had it and I didn't love it. But that's just me. I don't like it. I don't like aniseed flavoring. Nothing against your booze. Casey Boyd, why is Muller always milking his crankshaft on open bar? It's quite distracting. I don't know, man. I'm into that kind of thing. So it's fine for me. Eman says, speaking of funny things, I'd give my right hand to get The Drinker Recommends on With Now and I. It's a movie about drinking. What can I say? Good stuff. Michael says, Restless Natives is one of my fave films. If someone would give you an IP to write a script for, which would it be? Oh, God, the temptation would be the big IPs like Star Trek or Star Wars or something. I feel like I'd love to try and fix them, but yeah, IPs, man, I'd love to do a Resident Evil. I really would. I feel like I could make it work. And maybe I'm the only sane man in a world gone mad that can do a good Resident Evil. I don't know. Plastic Pinocchio says, do you have any hopes left for the new Star Wars movie now that Disney has seemingly renounced the old ways by focusing less on the message and more on storytelling? Or is it just all talk and no action? I don't have much hope for it, no, because even if they're not about politics and stuff anymore, it's perfectly possible to make a completely shit movie that's got no message in it. And I think The Mandalorian's a perfect example of that. I don't think it's going to be a good film, particularly, and I don't think it's going to do well at the box office either. Wayne King says, hey, mate, have you seen Treasure Planet? It's peak. I have seen it, and it is pretty good. I liked it. Good animated movie from back in the day. Munku says, what are your thoughts on the new Harry Potter series? My thoughts are, why? Why are you doing it? Oh, yeah, money. LC says, have you seen Alice in Borderland on Netflix? Yes, I've watched the first, is it 2 seasons we've had? I can't remember it's just 1 season. So I've watched all of that so far. And yeah, we've got a new season coming out, I think, in a month or so. So I'll be looking forward to it. But yeah, really good show. Does some pretty unexpected things. Like, I love the mystery of it. It's fucking bonkers what they do. Just transported to this alternate dimension, all this weird games and shit that they've got to play. And just, it's absolutely brutal as well. So yeah, I like Alice in Borderland. I really need to review it. Says, what's the next one? Tyson Drake says, "Hail Drinker, have you read Project Hail Mary? Project Hail Mary. If so, are you looking forward to the movie?" Yes and yes. I have read the book. I really like Andy Weir's stuff. I love The Martian. Hopefully they do a good adaptation of Project Hail Mary, because it's some great concepts in there. And yeah, I could say more right now, but I won't. But I've got the feeling it's going to be good. Jimbit says, "How long does it take you to write your books typically? Advice for running to a block in your stories." So it takes me about 6 months to write the manuscript, first draft, and then a couple of months of editing. So maybe 7 or 8 months in total. I guess I work fairly fast, as compared to some authors, but each to their own. I like to keep the momentum going. I hate like stopping for a week and then having to get back into it, which is why I haven't really been doing it since my YouTube channel took off, because I would have to be so stop and start. And it's just not how I like to work. I like to just get immersed in the story and then get it done. Badminton says, "Will you play GTA 6 when it comes out?" Yeah, in about 20 years when it's released, I'll play it. Daniel Jansen, "You ever review classic anime like Akira?" Not yet, but I'm totally up for doing it if I can find the time. Flonzen says, "Hail Drinker, how did you and Muller meet, and are you two meeting in real life? Thanks for your videos and being a sane voice in these trying times." Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, we're hoping to meet up early next year. I'm going to go down and visit him. We met up just because I think he heard about me. Like, I was a fan of his work before my channel ever took off. And then he just got in touch by email or something. He's like, "Hey, you want to come on EFAP sometime?" And I was like, "Oh God, Muller's talking to me. This is so fucking cool." And yeah, I just went from there. We hit it off and became good friends. So it's been nice. Ian Doggett, "Are you planning to watch Eddington? I liked it." I might watch it. I mean, it's Pedro Pascal, but I might give it a go. John Gets Gaming, "Hollywood adapting Demon Slayer. Google Mitsuri Kanroji and know her main motives finding a man stronger than her to marry to see why that will never happen without a costume change and casting Zendaya." I can fucking guess. Sula Felix, "Train Spotting end song Born Slippy is redeeming." Kind of is, yeah. Jube says, "Thoughts on Netflix Splinter Cell anime trailer?" Ugh, God, that fucking cover of it. Yeah, I'm not hoping for great things there. Cigar Ghost says, "McCready did not die in The Thing. Play The Thing." Yeah, you're talking about the video game. Yeah, apparently that's canon. Carpenter said that was canon, so that is wild. Says, excuse me. Yeah, Sea Monster says, "Drinker, what movie is your guilty pleasure?" Probably Armageddon. I fucking unashamedly love that movie. It's so cheesy, and I think it's just great. So over the top. Waylander, "Hurrah, Drinker. Have you read any David Gemmell novels? British author, heroic fantasy epics, and my go-to for feel-good manly heroism. Highly recommends." Haven't read it. I've heard of him. Haven't read his stuff, though, unfortunately. Chris Mitty says, "Baen Publishing doesn't require an agent. You could submit direct. Details at Baen website. Major sci-fi fantasy publisher." Well, there you go. That's open to unsolicited submissions. Silent Evil, "Evangelion is a mecha sci-fi unlike anything that's come before or since. Japan's Star Wars, only it hasn't been ruined by something like Disney yet." Fucking sounds good. Sign me up for that then. Aidan Gonzalez, "Favorite single season of TV ever?" Fuck, probably Chernobyl. That was superb. I know it's a mini-series, but goddamn, every episode I was absolutely gripped by it. Brilliant TV. Kroom says, "Star Trek 5 with a laugh track made it watchable." Yeah, I bet. Michael Whitehead, "Just saw that you're live. So X post about Terminator. I have made replies. Cameron should stop, but Terminator Zero, Japanese anime series on Netflix, totally rocks. This is the direction it should go now." Yeah, I did a review of it. I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect, but yeah, I liked that whole take on Judgment Day from a completely different country's perspective. So yeah, I liked Terminator Zero. And yeah, please, James Cameron, stop writing Terminator movies. Just let it die. Richard Cardamone says, Drinker, do you have any plans to check out Hollow Knight Silk Song? It's probably different to what you're used to, but it's great and worth the look. I mean, I've heard interesting things about it. I can take a look. Just, yeah, I haven't had time. Captain Hook, thoughts on the movie Beer Fest? It's a classic. Yeah, it's not as good as Super Troopers, but I think it's a bit better than Club Dread. So out of like the Broken Lizard movies, it's probably my second favorite. And yeah, it all centers on drinking, so it's superb in that respect. I love the Das Boot at the end, and I think they even got Jürgen Prochnow in it. So I should review it one day and do a rewatch. Meal Toss Caps says, last time you did a Shots episode, I joined you for a quick jack and I almost lost my job. Oh, well, we'll see how tomorrow goes. Cheers, man. Thank you. Seki Jokes says, thoughts on the ending of Attack on Titan? Well, I mean, how much can I say without spoiling it? I mean, as for like Eren's fate, made me a bit sad. But, you know, they stopped the destruction of the entire world, which is nice. But there's still that kind of, I don't know how you would describe it. There's still that potential that something else is going to happen. It's a bit of an interesting ending. But if anyone was going to do it, yeah, it was the character that does do it. I don't want to say any more. It's going to ruin it. Matt Wallace, Kapla Drinker. If you're interested, one of my guilty pleasure fight scenes was in Maximum Risk. JCVD versus a big German. Reverse roundhouse for the win. Yeah, it's always for the win. Jimbit, since other people ask my questions, here's another I just thought of. How do you write second acts? I find them to be the most difficult. Yeah, they are. That is the hardest part of any book because it's the grind. And you just have to get through it. I like to throw in a big set piece here or there, or some major like shocking event or something, just to keep it interesting. But yeah, the second act is the nuts and bolts of the story. Sadly, the ending is obviously the most satisfying because you bring it all together. But you've just got to grind your way through it. Lear Lawyer says, "Have you watched Succession?" I watched a bit of it. It didn't grab me. I appreciate that it's good TV and stuff. It's just like everyone in it's a fucking asshole and I don't like anyone. So that's a bit of a problem. Space Cowboy says, my sons Jeff and Cody got me addicted to watching your videos. Good sons you got there. He sends his regards, especially the MCU slop. Thanks, man. Lord Admiral Gear says, if you could make a movie of a lesser known comic character, who would you choose? Any particular people you'd want in it? Hope that you have a nice day. I mean, you're probably asking the wrong guy here because my knowledge of comics is fucking non-existent. But yeah, I don't know on that one. Az would be a better guy to ask about that sort of thing. And Gary, they're the experts. Jacob Wolf says, thanks for giving us an escape from reality today. Well, I absolutely do my best, man. And yeah, that's all any of us can ask, I think. And Andreas Nilsson says, Drinker, in light of last week showing what speaking your mind can bring, I want to thank you for your efforts and your dedication. We need more examples like this, and hopefully we can turn the tide without more violence. Yeah, here, man, 100%. And yeah, just got to keep speaking sense, I think, and hope for the best. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that was the last of the super chats right there. I want to say, like, really thank you for being super generous on the night. Like, I was basically reading out super chats right from the get-go, and I couldn't even begin to keep up with them. So, I mean, you guys are awesome. I really very much appreciate you guys joining me for it. And I'm looking forward to doing more Ask the Drinker streams because man, it's great to just hang with you and try and like let you guys lead the conversation a little bit instead of just listening to me rant away about stuff that you're not interested in. So, yeah, watch this space for more. But for now, at least, that's all I got for today. So go away now.